I was kind of in a mood, you know. Y'all might want to skip it because I was like, but I go back, I get out of the live because I'm like, I got nothing else to talk about. I'm just ranting at this point. So I get off the live and I look at the time and I only got to wait 10 more minutes till 7. Brittany gets off at 7. That's only 10 minutes away. It's a 10-minute drive to Alamo. Now, they might make food for the prison after work. They might clean up. They might go a little over 7. But it's possible. I only got 20 more minutes to wait on Brittany. And now I'm in a good mood. Now I'm happy. Now I'll show y'all Dukes up here. See, Brittany was terrified to introduce a little bit to Duke because she was thinking Duke could just eat him. And it's like, Duke is not that kind of dog. Duke's telling me he's got a tick in his ear. He'll shake his ear. But right now he's distracted with a little bit. He wants so much to play with a little bit, but a little bit scared to play with Duke. So now a little bit of run about halfway to him, see how big he is, and turn around. Which it's been days and days of this. Now he's not nowhere near as afraid of him as he used to be. But Duke wouldn't hurt a little bit. The Duke's just a big old gentle, friendly dog. He wants to be every man and every dog's friend. And he's always had like a good childhood. Like Duke grew up, everybody friendly. Nobody ever hit him or abused him. No other dogs ever really, like the dogs across the street befriended him when he was a puppy. Now, when he did grow up and go out breeding with strange dogs, he come back cut up a few times. He's been in some fights, but his experience as a puppy to an adult was all positive with other dogs and people. So he automatically assumes every dog in person is his friend. Wagging his tail. Now, you get too close to a little bit's bed, he gonna get territorial over his bed. He might attack you, dude. Oh, heck no. You're just gonna eat his food in front of him. Noah, stay little mode. No bacon today. I'm wondering if that's a Muslim or is that my brother with a joke on his name, because I got a brother named Noah. Dude, don't eat little bits. Come on. Get back outside. Dude, come on. Come on. He's coming. Come on, get outside. Get outside. I brought him in here I had the door open and the little dog a little bit run outside. I told Brittany that Duke would never hurt a little bit. He's just too friendly of a dog. He's bigger, but he's not mean. He's not going to hurt him. I'm glad, though. You know, imagine how much trouble I'd be in if Brittany come home and she was like, oh, he'll kill him. And I was like, oh, no, he won't. And then I put him out here and he gets hurt and it's my fault. That would just be terrible. I don't want that. I don't want that kind of trouble with Brittany. I mean, she ain't going to beat me up, but man, I'd be tired of hearing it. Actually, though, I would be really sad, too, if anything happened to that dog. I mean, I'd be really sad if Brittany's sad, especially if it's my fault. That's the worst. That is the worst. You know, like you protect your woman from everything else. You know, other people, other men, wild animals, fire, collapsing building, everything else, and then you hurt her. You don't protect her from yourself. That's just, I've done it a few times. It hurt. It's just terrible. You see the person you love more than anybody else just crying and it's your fault. Don't want none of that. So while I'm not able to watch them, I'm going to put the little dog in the house, big dog outside, and make sure when Brittany gets off work, they'll both still be alive and it won't be my fault. I hear Lee's ducks down there. You hear them? I don't know if it's picking up on the phone. They're going whack, whack, whack like that. That was me that time, but he's got 2 ducks in his backyard, and I hope they have babies because I got a pond on my property that I'd like to put some ducks in, which I can buy ducks from somewhere else. Bobby Bab Jr. Noah Stay Halil mode. I don't understand, like with Muslim Halil. I know that they. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I know that when they kill the animal, they like bless it in the name of Allah or something like that. But it's like it's not the same as the Jewish kosher laws. Because like there's some overlap, but it's like Jews cannot eat camel or camel's milk or nothing like that because it's got to have the split hoof and chew the cud. But neither one of them can have pork, not Muslim or Jew. But I just don't understand, like, how did kosher, like under Moses' law, you can't have anything from a camel. But that didn't seem too convenient for the Arabs. How does it then change over? Which there's change all the time, I guess. There's all kind of new additions and changes when Jesus come, and then there's more changes and stuff when Muhammad come. But I just don't understand how it's like so different, the dietary law. I would think that the kosher animals and the halal animals would all be the same, but they're not. There's some things there was this YouTuber, Yusef Estate, something like that. He's a Texan. He's from Texas. He was some kind of, I don't know if he was a Baptist preacher, some kind of Christian preacher, and he converted to Islam. And he used to make these videos that I saw some on when I was 18. And he would talk about the importance of a beard and how you're supposed to have a beard. Or, well, he didn't say necessarily you're supposed to. He said some people cannot grow a beard, but you're not supposed to shave the beard off at all it gives you. And so I had a beard, and everybody was like, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it. And I didn't want to shave it. And one of the reasons I didn't want to shave it is I went to public school most of my life, but the last 2 years of high school, I went to go live with my dad, and he put me in a private school at War Hill Christian Fellowship. And the camera flipped around on itself. I didn't tell it to do that. And now I don't show the comment section. So I can't see the comments if y'all comment. But anyway, I was at this Christian school, and they had these rules where your hair had to be cut up over here. You had to stay shaved. And I didn't understand that. I was like, there's nothing in the Bible about shaving except not to. You know, there's nothing in the New Testament that says, now shave your beard. You know, but in Leviticus, it talks about not making baldness on your head and not shaving the sides of your beard. So I'm like, how are you telling me to shave my beard? They say, shave your beard, shave your mustache, keep your hair short, keep it cut above your ears. And so when I got out of that school, I grew my hair out. I grew my beard out because I was tired of having to always, and I just never shaved again. Like every now and then, I've shaved a few times in my life. I shaved my beard off. Everyone would be like, shave, you should shave. You look better if you shave. And then I shave it, and they're like, you look different. You look different. You look younger. And I don't know. It's just a lot of people tell me to shave, and I just don't really want to. And then Lee's girlfriend was just, when are you going to shave that shit off your face? And I'm just thinking, I kind of enjoy that you want me to shave, and I don't care, and I'm not going to do it. And I was thinking in my head, I don't know if Lee watches my channel, but I was thinking, she'd say to me, when you going to shave that shit off your face? I was thinking, when you going to lose them pounds off your waist? I didn't say it. I could have said it. I didn't say it. But I guess I did say it because I just said it now. Maybe I'm a little petty. But, shit, I ain't saying nothing about you. Why are you saying something about me? Why you care? But it's like, I think some people think it'll look better, but then it doesn't. It surprises them. I shave the beard off, and they're like, oh, I thought it would look different. Oh, that's how you look without a beard. Maybe you should grow it back, But that was the only reason. It wasn't any that I was listening to Yusef Estates. Is I was feeling like, hey, I don't want to shave. They're telling me I'm supposed to shave, and he's saying I don't have to shave. I like that. So I started watching his videos. And you got to keep in mind that, I didn't know at the time the Jews had done 9/11. I thought it was Osama bin Laden. So, there's not a very positive feeling toward Muslims in America at the time at all. You're over there turning the volume down while you're listening to the Muslim preachers because you don't want your parents to hear it because, damn, you don't want the fucking government to hear it and call you a terrorist either. You're like, I'm going to listen to this in secret, And Islam, I've got a Quran in the truck. I think that's why the police roughed me up. I'm not a Muslim, but I do have a Quran in the truck. I read the Quran. But with the hadiths, there's all these different sayings, and some people accept them, and some people don't. And a lot of the accepted sayings that are they call it al-Bukhari or something like that, like what would you say, like the canon, I guess they would call it, or the orthodox view or whatever. Like, there's a lot of the sayings that all of your scholars are going to say, yes, these are the rightful sayings. These are rightly guided hadiths that the layman, the common Muslim, is not going to know. And then when you tell them about them hadiths, they're going to be like, no, that's a different one, And so people kind of, just like Christians, make their own brand of Christianity. Like, I'm going to keep this verse, ignore that one. Like they're going through a buffet. Like, I'll take this that I want, ignore that I don't. Muslims do that too. There's in every religion, you'll barely ever find a religion where the adherents of the religion follow the religion in its pure form. They normally make their own religion and kind of loosely base it on the other religion. They're like, well, it's like, yeah, I'm going to eat kosher, but, or like, I'm going to eat right. I'm not going to drink alcohol, but I'm not going to go on jihad. Or I'm not going to pay money to those who, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just whatever's convenient at the time. And when you go to church, there's so many things in the Bible that you will never hear them at church, ever. No preacher's going to touch it, So if you go to church enough, you've already heard everything you're going to hear. There's going to be the same stories that they focus on, the same things they talk about. And it's the same thing in the Muslim world. When they go to their imams, they go to the mosque, there's certain things that are going to be taught a lot. There's certain prayers that are just repeated over and over again. And there's a lot of stuff that's just never going to be brought up because, for one, the guy teaching don't know it and don't understand it. For two, you'd lose followers if you talked about it. And, and you got to keep the money coming in. And so you can't be too unpopular. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but that's what people do. People do it without even realizing they do it. And whenever a truth is connected to your pay, like if knowing the truth means you lose money, most people will never know that truth. Their mind will just do all kind of mental gymnastics and whatever, and they just can't see it because it gets in the way of their money. And people do that when they don't even know they're doing it. So some things, like they're not consciously saying, let's shy away from that topic because then we'll lose people coming in here donating money, but they do it. Some do it on purpose. Some do it, don't even know they're doing it. That's probably good. I think okay, reconnecting. Okay. It says it's live, but I have no viewers. And it said reconnecting. See, Brittany called, and I guess it paused the live or cut the live off in the background. And I am sorry for that. But I think I'm just gonna. Are you sure? What? No, I think I'll just keep talking. The buttons aren't on there, but whatever. So I'm kind of jumping around. But back to the first part of the story is. Normally, I wouldn't have even. I don't know. I'm really curious by nature, so I don't think I could honestly say that normally I just wouldn't have even wouldn't have listened to the man. But the fact that they were doing the whole beard thing and it was a sermon about grow your beard. So that's why I listened to it. And there's a lot of things in Islam that are good, really. And there are bad. They're like, when people say good or bad, they're normally saying beneficial or harmful to their self. They're not really talking about the bigger picture. So a lot of times we say things are bad and they might not be bad. Or we say things like, if we experience pain, to us that's bad. But a lot of times it's good for us. A lot of times it's our best teacher is pain. A lot of times pain is a necessary part of development, but people will say if it's painful, it's bad. Okay, so from the a problem that, when I was young, and I was, everybody around me was a Christian, I would get frustrated that people didn't really live it. They did not really do what Jesus said unless it was convenient to them. If Jesus said something that contradicted the prevailing American culture, it was gone. It was like the type of Christianity that is in America is not really the same Christianity that the disciples had. It's a type of Christianity that is compatible with neocon, Republican American values. You see what I'm saying? It's not really Christianity. And it's like that almost everywhere in the world. People, they hold on to their culture, they hold on to their politics, and they kind of bend their religion around to fit into that. And they change their religion to fit. And they say they're a Christian, but they're really a neocon, conservative, Republican, Israel first supporting, neoliberal, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a lot of things that people don't like about Islam, but the real reason they don't like it is it's foreign to their culture. And it's foreign to, and also, like I say, a lot of the culture is based on the egalitarian lie. And it's based on this lie that if a man has a certain privilege, a woman should have it without earning it. It's like the man's always got a responsibility attached to that privilege, but the feminist wants that privilege without the responsibility attached to it. And it's that way with everything they vote. In the left in general, they normally want rights and freedoms and goodies without any responsibilities or duties attached to them. And that's normally like their basic core value is hedonism. I should be in pleasure. I should have no responsibility, and I should have the freedom to do whatever. That's normally what everything else they believe centers around. And so, like, there is and there are some negative things. Women are not God. They're not like perfect and flawless. There's bad things about female nature, and there's bad things about male nature. And we normally have things in our culture, society, and tradition to put a check on those bad things. And we've kept the checks for the most part on the masculine, but we've removed all the checks off of the feminine. There is a such thing as toxic femininity. There are toxic female traits. And like, let's say you give women political power. What do women do when they get political power? They vote for privileges without responsibility. They vote to be able to kill their own babies. They vote to be able to be whores. They basically vote no responsibility and privilege and pleasure. Like, look at it. It's been but by giving someone power, you see who they really are. So a lot of people were naive about female nature because women didn't have political power, and they imagined that when they give women political power, it would usher in some kind of utopia. They did not expect women to do what they did when they got political power. But when women were given political power, it showed them for who they were. So what did they do with that political power? We want birth control. We want abortion. We want all kind of government subsidies and government grants and government free money, and we don't want to have to pay taxes for it. And we're not loyal whatsoever to the traditions and culture of our people. We're willing to open up the border and just give the country away to anybody else. It's like the feminine nature is not good for running a country at all. And Muhammad was right about that. I don't think Muhammad was right about everything, but it is a problem to give women political power, and it should never be done. And the Muslims are right not to give women political power. Muslims are not evil for not giving women political power. Every nation that gives women political power goes in debt, goes below replacement birth rates, and falls into absolute degeneracy every single time. So how can it be a good thing to do it? They don't get, and it's not like men normally want women to be happy. Like it's easier to tell a man no than a woman no. It's easier to tell a boy no than a little girl no. It's already in man's nature to give to women, to protect the women, to provide for women. It's not in women's nature to do that for men. It's in men's nature to lay down their life for the woman. It's not in a woman's nature to lay her life down for her country at all. When a war happens, she's going to go sleep with men in a different country. Anytime a nation gets invaded, the women mostly, they leave, they go to some other country, they got a new boyfriend and done forgot about you. They done moved on. Like, they're not going to be loyal to the state ever. It's a patriarchal thing. It's like, so mostly, and I do have some criticisms of Islam, but mostly the criticisms I hear about Islam is they're like, well, they don't give women political power. Well, maybe they're not retarded. Maybe they're not retarded. You got to be retarded to give, like, if you don't know, then you don't know, right? But when you have all the examples in history and you have all the nations and you can see the before and after, and if you still want to do it, you can't be helped. I mean, there's just, but the problem that I have is the same problem I have with the Talmud, this allowing adults to have sex with children. It's okay for Muhammad. Like I heard this rabbi, he was saying that, which nothing in the Bible says that Rebecca was 3 years old when she got married. That's in the Talmud. It's nowhere in the Bible. And the fact that she got all the water for the camels and all, she's not a 3-year-old doing all that work. She was grown. They're just, these rabbis are just pervert child molesters that want to justify their wickedness. So they're like, she was 3 years old. No, she wasn't. There's nothing that says she's 3 years old, but they say it. So that's the problem I have with them. And then this one rabbi, he tries to justify this having sex with a 3-year-old. He's like, well, back then they were aged like a 20-year-old. And this is the bullshit that the Muslims do too. They'll be like, well, Aisha was 9, but she was like a 30-year-old. We have a written history going back 6,000 years. We know that's not true. We know that while Romans were getting married at like 15, 16, that the Germans were still waiting till 21 to marry off their women, and everybody thought that was strange. Like, we know that humans have developed at this same rate pretty much throughout time for the last 6,000 years. We knew they'd done that before Jesus. Muhammad is like 600 years after Jesus, 500 years after Jesus, something like that. This idea that Aisha at 9 years old was aged like a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old, it's just a straight up lie. She was a 9-year-old. She was a 9-year-old that was basically, you have this guy, Abu Bakr, I might be saying his name wrong. The guy who takes over after Muhammad, how did he get to be the number 2 guy? He pimped his daughter out to Muhammad. He let Muhammad marry his 9-year-old daughter. And so when Muhammad died, everybody pretty much left the religion in Saudi Arabia. They're like, okay, he's dead. We can go back to freedom. And then number 2 guy, he doesn't sacrifice his daughter being molested to get to be the number 2 guy. He's not about to let it go. He's not about to give up his political power. And he goes, picks up the sword and reconquers and submits everyone. And then you got your average Muslim doesn't even know. Like, most Muslims aren't, like, a lot of them aren't even literate. A lot of them have never read the Quran. They only know what's told of them by their imams. They don't really know. Or they believe the bullshit that she was aged out like a 24-year-old at the age of 9, So what I'm saying is I just can't get past that, and I'm not going to try to, because I wasn't raised and indoctrinated and brainwashed to believe it, where it's like, oh, if I doubt this, I'm going to hell. So I don't have no reason to try to, like, have cognitive dissonance or do mental gymnastics to try to make it work. I have the benefit of not being brought up into the religion, and I could just look at it as an outsider and say, oh, a child molester started a cult. They become very popular. And I'm not going to accept him as a prophet because he was fucking children. He's a piece of shit. Which that can get some people to want to kill me. Their heart goes crazy. They're like, oh my goodness, how dare he say something about the perfect, most best man that ever lived. Oh, God's going to get you. And it's like, I'll take my chances, okay? I'll take my chances. Because if there's a God pushing pedophilia, he's not, I don't want no part of that either, like, it's wrong. There's never been a 9-year-old at any time in recorded history that was ready to be having sex, or that should be having sex, or that should be having sex with a 65-year-old that's already got more than 4 or 5 wives. It's already got, that's already, like, lusted after his son's wife, outlawed adoption, forced a divorce so he can marry his son's wife. This guy's not a prophet. This guy's a con man that conned a lot of people. And it's easy to believe anything when you're a child. When you're a child and everybody you trust believes it and everybody, tells it to you. Same thing when you grow up in Christianity. It's very hard to be critical of Christianity when you're raised by it. Everybody you love and trust told you it's true, And so I don't really blame Muslims for following Muhammad. And there's a lot of positive things that come out. Like there's a lot of good in the religion, but I cannot make a man a prophet that's going to have sex with a 9-year-old, because if you have him as your standard, it's kind of hard to outlaw pedophilia. And that's the problem that we're at. Like almost every American thinks you should put someone to death for having sex with a child. But the Jews that run this country think that Isaac could have sex with a 3-year-old. And, the Muslims don't like it either. And Prince Charles don't like it either. You've got all these pedophiles in the whole political power. And, of course, Judaism, Talmudic Judaism allows for child sex. So it's just really hard. Like if you just take like white culture, European culture, without the Jewish or Arabic or any Middle Eastern input, just our culture is killing people for being child molesters and not accepting it. That's our culture. Our culture is not venerating child molesters as prophets. So if we could ever get rid of the Jewish influence, if we could ever get rid of the Jewish stranglehold on America, we could have the death penalty for pedophiles. But as long as Jews run shit, they'll never let that go because they believe it's okay. It's in the Talmud. And this is something Americans need to wake up and be educated about. Americans are told that the Jews believe the Old Testament, but not the New Testament. They think that they just made a religion up off the Old Testament, and that's not the case. These are Pharisees that were the liberals of their day, that didn't accept the law of Moses during their day, that made loopholes to get around it. And they follow the Talmud. And the Talmud says everyone's a slave to the Jew. Everyone's property of the Jew. The Jew the Jew can't steal from a non-Jew because that's their property. That they're supposed to, that in the last days, each of them will have like 1,400 slaves, that we're animals in the form of humans to serve them for the sake of their dignity, that we have no souls, that we have no other purpose other than to be slaves of Jews. That's what Jews believe. Now do you understand what the Muslims have to deal with? Like, dang, it's not all the Muslims now. It's like the middle of the Islamic world has the Jews dividing it in half right there in the middle. And I'm sure from a geopolitical standpoint, like white Europeans are like, we're traumatized from when the Muslims ruled the world, from when they whooped up on us, from when they took thousands and thousands of slaves from all of our cities on the southern coast. And we just don't want them to be powerful again. So let's cut them in half with Israel. But, like they're really... Brittany's home. I'm going to get off this live. But, that's why the Palestinians have trouble with them. They believe that they can enslave everybody and kill children and all kind of stuff. Like, I'm telling you, however bad you think the Muslims are, the Jews are worse. They're just sneaky about it.
Leave me alone. I'm tired of you.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to stop streaming.